Friday nights, 9/8 Central on ABC. ABC News, straightforward.
Communities, and do whatever it takes to give every kid a chance.
Hundreds of bodies in storage containers. The Los Angeles crypt overflowing with the dead as COVID continues its death march across this country, all unfolding during another crisis in the U.S., one of leadership in Washington. President Trump now faces the possibility of becoming the first president in history to be impeached twice. The House is now moving to begin proceedings against Trump for inciting that mob of supporters who terrorized the Capitol. A Republican senator is now calling for him to resign. Tonight, we'll take a closer look at how the president could be held responsible as we learn more about the deadly violence at the nation's capital. Finally facing justice, after many of the rioters were seemingly allowed to simply walk away from the scene, tonight the hunt to find them. And some, like this self-professed white nationalist in Nancy Pelosi's office, now in custody facing federal charges. Meanwhile, the FBI is looking for the suspect who dropped active pipe bombs outside political headquarters, as we get a clearer picture of what exactly transpired in the halls of Congress from the new images coming in tonight. On full blast, President Trump gets called out by President-elect Biden, who slammed the president in this response.
He is not fit to serve. He's one of the most incompetent presidents in the history of the United States of America.
Biden says he's happy President Trump will not attend his inauguration, but extending an invitation to Vice President Pence. In tonight's Vaccine Watch, what the president-elect said today about getting the vaccine to everyone as fast as possible, how to get those doses doled out. And our America in Transition series, Generation Left Behind, the new research that shows the pandemic is having a major impact on education. Many remote learners simply unable to keep up. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Well, the more things change, the more they stay the same. In 1793, the U.S. Capitol building was built largely by enslaved African Americans, and this week, under police surveillance, it was primarily the hands of black and brown men that picked up the pieces and cleaned up the mess from the angry mob's mayhem at the Capitol. This footage is now widely being circulated on Twitter as many express their disgust, some calling it a horrific illustration of the state of systemic racism in our country. Christine Pelosi, the daughter of the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, posting black workers cleaning up after white seditionists who were escorted out of the Capitol encapsulates Trumpism in a nutshell. Behind me, you see the images posted by the FBI of just some of the people who were seen in photos inside the Capitol. They're now asking for the public's assistance tonight, finding these rioters, many of whom have still not been arrested more than 48 hours after storming the U.S. Capitol. Late today, the Department of Justice announced charges against 53 people, including Richard Barnett, seen in this photo with his foot on Nancy Pelosi's desk. He faces a maximum of 1 year in prison. Now, just for the sake of comparison, in his home state of Arkansas, distributing small amounts of marijuana carries a much stricter sentence, up to 6 years in prison. The Speaker of the House is now drafting an impeachment resolution against the president for his role in inciting a riot. And strong words tonight from Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski, calling for Trump to resign, threatening that if he does not, she may leave the party. This as Twitter has now suspended the president's account. Our Jonathan Carl leads us off tonight.
Horrifying video of Trump supporters storming the Capitol.
We need fresh patriots abroad. We need fresh people.
Police officer crushed between a riot shield and a metal door, bleeding and screaming for help. Police in riot gear try to hold the line. The mob keeps pushing, one of them yelling out, "Grab their damn shields." Tonight, the flag over the Capitol is at half-staff in honor of an officer who died in the riot, Brian Sicknick, a 12-year veteran of the force. The vice president offered his condolences, and the White House put out a statement from a deputy press secretary, but nothing from the president himself. Trump, more isolated than ever, remained behind closed doors at the White House today, amidst growing signs for him to resign. Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski was blunt. "I want him to resign. I want him out. He has caused enough damage." Democrats took steps towards impeaching him once again. They've already written an impeachment resolution, a single article for, quote, incitement of insurrection, charging Trump with willfully inciting violence against the government by urging his followers to march to the Capitol.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy today said, quote, impeaching the president with just 12 days left in his term will only divide our country more. President-elect Biden says impeachment is up to Congress, but offered a different way to remove Trump from power.
The quickest way that will happen is us being sworn in on the 20th.
In Washington, new signs of fury from the president's supporters, hounding Senator Lindsey Graham at the airport after he turned on Trump.
Lindsey Graham, you are a traitor to the country.
Today, Trump tweeted he won't attend Biden's inauguration. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she made an extraordinary call today to Joint Chiefs Chairman Mark Milley to, quote, discuss available precautions for preventing an unstable president from initiating military hostilities or accessing the launch codes and ordering a nuclear strike. On the day of the riot, Trump praised his supporters.
So go home. We love you. You're very special.
But amidst the calls for his removal, he finally denounced the thugs.
I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem.
Still on GMA today, the Washington, D.C. Attorney General said he'll investigate whether the president is legally responsible for inciting the riot.
We're going to investigate not only those mobsters, but also those who incited the violence.
And it's not just the president. He also mentioned Rudy Giuliani, who said this at the rally.
Let's have trial by combat.
And the president's son, Don Jr., who posted a censor-removed video taken backstage at the rally before the riot. The president and his children watching the crowds gather.
Hi, Ivanka.
Don Jr.'s girlfriend, Kimberly, dancing as the Trumps celebrated.
Yes, have the courage to do the right thing. Fight.
This was Don Jr.'s message to supporters before they stormed the Capitol.
Folks, if you're going to be the zero and not the hero, we're coming for you.
A lot of words there that really got that crowd going. Jonathan Karl joins us now from the White House. John, some breaking news that Twitter has permanently suspended the president's account?
Yes, permanent suspension. I don't know if that is an oxymoron, whether it's permanent or suspended, but it is right now not operable. All of the tweets not visible, and Twitter has put out a statement saying, after close review of recent tweets from the president's account and the context around them, specifically how they are being received and interpreted on and off Twitter, we have permanently suspended the account due to the risk of further incitement of violence. It goes on to say, in the context of the horrific events this week, we made it clear on Wednesday that additional violations of Twitter's rules would potentially result in this very course of action. And this is quite a step. This is the president's megaphone. This is, in some ways, often his most direct and, to him, important way of communicating with his supporters. It is now gone. No reaction yet from the White House, Lindsay.
Right, and of course he had more than 80 million followers on Twitter. And John, what are your sources telling you tonight about what happens in the next 12 days? As we just heard, Lisa Murkowski is calling on the president to resign. You're learning tonight that impeachment may be next to impossible before January 20th. I'd imagine that him stepping down is an impossibility.
Yeah, basically bracing for 12 days more of Donald Trump as president seems to be the reality. In fact, I am told that the Senate parliamentarian briefed both Schumer and McConnell, the Republican and Democratic leaders in the Senate, and told them, outlined what impeachment would look like, an impeachment trial would look like. And the conclusion was, in the very best case scenario, in terms of the quickest, an impeachment trial could not begin until January 19th. That would be the day before Joe Biden is sworn in as president. So it seems virtually impossible, if not impossible, for the president to be impeached and removed from office before the time when he is constitutionally going to be leaving anyway.
Okay, Jonathan Karl, our thanks to you as always.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Now to the latest on the investigation into the terrorists involved in that attack on Capitol Hill. Today, the Department of Justice announced multiple people have been charged in federal court. In a statement, FBI Director Christopher Wray said today's charges are just the beginning of the FBI's ongoing efforts to hold those responsible for the criminal acts of violence and destruction that unfolded during the U.S. Capitol building breach on January 6th. This as the FBI is now asking for the public's help to find dozens more perpetrators. ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas has the latest from our nation's capital.
Tonight, federal authorities are determined to leave no stone unturned, ramping up efforts to bring all the Trump supporters who desecrated the Capitol to justice.
I figure, well, I'm in her office.
Richard Barnett, the man with his feet on a desk in Nancy Pelosi's office and who admits on camera to stealing from her,
I'll put a quarter on her desk.
Arrested today in Arkansas for multiple federal offenses. Also charged Lonnie Kaufman. Authorities claim they found in his truck near the Capitol an arsenal for arson. These 11 Molotov cocktails, along with handguns and an M4 carbine assault rifle like this one. And FBI officials announcing they arrested West Virginia State Delegate Derek Evans, who live-streamed his breach on the Capitol. The FBI and U.S. Marshals hunting dozens more, including this man, suspected of planting pipe bombs at the nearby RNC and DNC headquarters. Trump supporters spraying police with chemicals and beating them with bats and metal pipes. Right-wing groups posting their sinister plans on social media for weeks. Inside the Capitol, rioters seen wearing shirts bearing slogans praising the Holocaust. And tonight, a federal murder investigation is underway into the death of Officer Brian Sicknick. Authorities trying to find out whether he was hit with a fire extinguisher or other heavy object. Sicknick's brother writing, after a day of fighting for his life, he passed away a hero. But as the chaos died down, protesters seen filing out calmly. The critical question, why weren't they arrested?
The fault, unfortunately, lies with the Capitol Hill police.
So many of the members of that mob just able to simply walk out of the Capitol building there. Pierre Thomas joins us now. Pierre, what are you learning now as far as new information with regard to that officer who was killed?
Well, Lindsay, we are being told that he engaged the crowd, that mob, that he was somehow injured in the course of dealing with them. He came back to the office and fell very ill. Law enforcement officials saying they're trying to find out if a fire extinguisher was used against him. Was he hit with some kind of object? They say they plan to go over every frame of video, talk to every witness they can find. They want to find out if he was assaulted and if murder charges should be brought.
Okay, our Pierre Thomas, thanks so much to you. We're seeing increasing calls from Democrats and some Republicans to remove President Trump from office before his term is up. The president is accused of helping to incite the riot on our nation's capital with his words to his supporters on Wednesday. Twitter is now taking that action to permanently suspend his account due to the risk of further enticement of violence. But it's not the first time that the president's rhetoric has been accused of fanning the flames. Here's ABC's Kira Phillips.
We're stuck with a president who lost the election by a lot, and we have to live with that for 4 more years. We're just not going to let that happen.
President Trump's lies and rhetoric under intense scrutiny. With less than 2 weeks to go, he'll be leaving the Oval Office and his presidential legacy up in smoke. The president getting heat from all sides after Wednesday's rally in D.C. turned into a deadly riot as the Electoral College count got underway.
We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol because you'll never take back our country with weakness.
Democrats and Republicans calling his rhetoric unconscionable, unconstitutional, and downright dangerous.
The president has committed an unspeakable assault on our nation and our people.
What happened here today was an insurrection incited by the President of the United States.
The president needs to understand that his actions were the problem, not the solution.
This had the active encouragement of a sitting president of the United States.
The outcome here leading to deadly consequences, all connected to the riots. 5 deaths, including a Capitol police officer. But the unprecedented siege on Capitol Hill, only a reminder of the dangerous rhetoric Donald Trump has been accused of before.
Are you concerned that you might be stoking more racial violence or more racial discord?
It's a question he's faced for years, accused of fanning the fires of hatred. President Trump disagrees.
I think my rhetoric is it brings people together.
But does it? The president and his words appearing in scores of police reports and courtrooms. And this Cleveland man attacked his African-American neighbors with a knife and then tells police Donald Trump will fix them because they are scared of Donald Trump. And watch this video from Gainesville, Florida. A Latino man is working outside of his convenience store when he says a stranger suddenly bashes him in the head. Moments later, the victim describing the attack.
Hit me in my back of my head, bro. I said, this is for Trump.
After reviewing hundreds of police reports and court records from across the country, ABC News found more than 50 criminal cases where Donald Trump was explicitly invoked in relation to violent acts, threats, or alleged assaults. ABC News searched for past cases similarly invoking Presidents Bush or Obama, but could not find one.
In order for something to be stated in a charging document, a criminal complaint, an indictment, or some other type of court record, there has to be substantive, concrete information that supports the information or the assertion provided in that court document.
This man was arrested after threatening to massacre employees of the Boston Globe for their coverage of Trump. In more than a dozen calls to the newspaper, he declares, "You are the enemy of the people."
A few days ago, I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are.
In 10 of the cases identified by ABC News, defense attorneys specifically cited Trump in court to help explain their clients' violent or threatening actions.
We begin tonight with the latest on that fast-moving investigation into a Florida man federal officials now say mailed 14 bombs targeting President Trump's highest-profile critics.
After Cesar Sayoc pleaded guilty to 65 federal charges, his lawyer tells the judge, "We believe the president's rhetoric contributed to Mr. Sayoc's behavior."
It is disconcerting to law enforcement that there are people out there, mentally unwell, violence-prone individuals in our society who will hear the words of the President of the United States and view those words as permission to go out and conduct an attack against others.
However, Trump's critics have also invoked his name during acts of violence. But of the 54 total cases, ABC News found that 75% of them reflected someone echoing Trump's rhetoric, not protesting it.
Yeah, I guess you're a Trump supporter, is that what it is?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Some of those charged were found to be mentally ill, others just dangerously devoted to their politics.
The president may not be directly responsible for the acts of violence conducted by some of these individuals, but his words do provide them the validation.
Even before entering the White House, Trump recognized the power of a commander-in-chief's words.
The irresponsible rhetoric of our president, who has used the pulpit of the presidency to divide us by race and color, has made America a more dangerous environment than, frankly, I have ever seen.
Once in office, Trump insisted he deserves no such blame.
Do you think that you bear any responsibility for moderating your language when it comes to that?
No, I don't. I think my language is very nice.
But not nice enough to prevent the violence in this week's Capitol chaos, nor nice enough to prevent the ongoing resignations from those who once defended him. For ABC News Live, I'm Kira Phillips in Washington.
Our thanks to Keira Phillips for that. And for more now on the president's role in this week's deadly siege on the Capitol, we bring in ABC News contributor Kate Shaw, constitutional law professor at Cardozo Law. Right. Thanks so much for joining us, Kate. Now, the president encouraged his supporters this week with words like, "You'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength." Do you think that President Trump committed any crime here? And what about protections for free speech?
I think he possibly did commit incitement to violence. I think there's at least a real case that he did. And in terms of protection for speech, you know, the First Amendment is typically viewed as a protection that we as private citizens have against the government. So it protects us from the government repressing our speech if say, it doesn't like it. But it's not ordinarily something we think of as the government possessing. So it would be unusual as a matter of the Constitution for the president to say he's immune from the consequences of his speech because of the First Amendment. It's just not typically how the Constitution works.
While there is no precedent, could President Trump pardon himself before he leaves office? And what would that protect him from exactly? Because that's just for federal prosecution, correct? And for example, if it were to be inciting a riot, is that a federal crime?
So, to the first question, yes, he absolutely could pardon himself, although it's never been done before. But whether that would actually shield him from criminal prosecution is a different question. So take first the question of federal prosecution. Just because he pardons himself doesn't mean the Department of Justice under the Biden administration would necessarily agree that that pardon was valid. I think there's actually an argument that pardoning himself would make the Justice Department potentially even more likely to attempt to pursue criminal charges against him, in part because it would be a dangerous precedent to allow a president to pardon himself and thereby escape all criminal responsibility, at least in the federal system. And the Department of Justice has typically taken the position that a self-pardon is not permissible. So it's not even clear it would shield him from federal prosecution, but it definitely wouldn't shield him from any kind of state prosecution. So take, for example, criminal proceedings in Georgia based on his phone call to Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. Nothing in a pardon, whether it's a pardon that he gives himself or potentially that a Vice President Mike Pence, as acting president, if President Trump leaves office, might give him, none of that would shield him from potential state criminal prosecution.
And we've heard words used like sedition, insurrection, even treason, but the federal charges so far are along the lines of disorderly conduct and forcibly entering a restricted building. Were these acts by the people who are part of this mob more sinister than that, more like sedition?
You know, Lindsay, I think the reason we're seeing charges along the line of breaking and entering and trespassing at this point is because those are very easy charges to prove. I don't think we should assume we won't see anything more serious. So you mentioned sedition and seditious conspiracy. Those are both federal criminal offenses, and they require basically conspiring to overthrow or harm the government or to obstruct the execution of the laws. And I think it's just that those kinds of charges just take more time to build. So you're going to need to figure out what the intention of some of these players was, what conversations preceded the storming of the Capitol. So I would well imagine those kinds of charges are being considered. They just may take more time to build.
Kate Shaw, thank you as always for your insight. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Late today, President-elect Biden did not mince words about calling out President Trump's role in the riot this week and blasted him for encouraging the mob. Mary Bruce joins us now from Washington. And Mary, Biden responded today to word that President Trump will not be attending his inauguration. What do you have to say?
Well, he said that's just fine with him. He said it's actually a good thing that Trump will not be attending. He actually called it one of the few things that they've ever agreed on. Now, as for the vice president, that's a bit of a different story. Biden said that Mike Pence is welcome, that he would be honored to have him there, except tonight the vice president, we're told, hasn't decided yet whether or not he's going to be attending.
Yeah, it's a tricky decision for him to make, I'm sure, politically. And Mary, also, President-elect Biden, he walked a fine line today as well, effectively punting what should happen with the president to Congress.
Yeah, he really sort of went out of his way not to comment specifically on this, saying that it should be up to Congress to decide President Trump's fate. Now, that's not because Joe Biden thinks that Donald Trump should still be in office. He made very clear in a blistering speech that he feels that President Trump is unfit for office, unworthy of it. He called him an embarrassment. He wants him out. But he said that the best way to do that, he thinks, is simply to forge ahead with the transition of power on January 20th with his inauguration. And remember, part of this is that impeachment takes some time. This is not an overnight process. And if they are to go down this road, it would also likely dominate, overshadow much of the beginning of the Biden administration. And the president-elect today made it very clear he's focused instead on President Trump on the challenges ahead, what he has to tackle when he takes office in just 12 days. Lindsay.
Mary Bruce, thanks so much as always.
Thank you.
And as you might imagine, all the attention in Washington has overshadowed what is truly one of the darkest times in American history. We're losing thousands upon thousands of lives each and every day to COVID. The demand for vaccine doses, of course, continues to rise. We'll get to the plan for distribution moving forward in a moment. But first, a sobering reality check from our Kaylee Hartung.
Tonight, with hospital morgues and funeral homes overflowing, Los Angeles bringing in refrigerated trucks to store the bodies. Today, LA County's deadliest day.
We're just coming off the travel and the congregating and social settings of the holiday season. Virtually every day, another record is broke.
Los Angeles hospitals buckling.
We've taken all of our resources and tried to give them to the patient that's in the most desperate and imminent need.
Ventilators and oxygen in short supply.
They literally had the oxygen tubing and had a connector so that two patients were using basically the same oxygen flow at the same time. So resources are really low.
Because that was your best option.
That was the only option.
Paramedics telling us ambulances are waiting up to 17 hours outside hospitals because there are no beds. The mayor pleading for federal help and more vaccines.
Give Los Angeles what we need. And just as we sent doctors to New York and PPE to other parts of the country early on when they were peaking, this is our peak.
With that highly contagious variant now confirmed in 8 states, tonight some promising signs. A new study from Pfizer and the University of Texas, not yet peer-reviewed, found its vaccine likely protects against those 2 variants from the UK and South Africa. Only 30% of the 22 million vaccines distributed have been administered. To speed it up, President-elect Biden plans to break with the Trump administration and start releasing available vaccine doses immediately, instead of holding second doses back, something some governors are pushing for.
Vaccines give us hope, but their rollout has been a travesty.
And Lindsay, tonight, FDA Commissioner Stephen Hahn, he's urging states to open up vaccinations to lower priority groups to help speed up this vaccine rollout. He says if there is risk of vaccines going to waste, they should look at those groups who make sense, like the elderly, first responders, and anyone with pre-existing conditions. Lindsay?
Kaylee, our thanks to you. And when we come back, the woman who falsely accused a black teen of stealing her phone is now under arrest. What she now has to say about her actions. How will the Biden administration help those children who are falling behind in school during the pandemic? We take a look in our series, America in Transition. But up next, so many questions about how we can get more Americans COVID vaccines effectively and efficiently. And what about concerns that the wealthy or well-connected could cut the line? We'll ask a member of the Biden COVID task force coming up.
Admit it, these days, what you need to know seems to change, well, like every day. So what is it that you really need to know, want to know, to help you not just get through your day, but make the most of it? Feel smarter, feel better, feel happier. Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon? GMA 3, what you need to know. It's all about you. Lunchtime at 1 Eastern, 12 Central and Pacific on ABC. This is going to be so good.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown Hate, The War Among Us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
What you're seeing right now, this is part of the eye wall. This procession of migrants goes back 2 miles.
There is going to be catastrophic damage.
This fire has made a run. You can see those flames shooting up into the sky.
We are on the jam-packed red carpet.
To the right, guys.
So this is the 4th weekend of protest.
Watch ABC News on location for Facebook Watch.
Your mom said, comb your hair. Your dad told you, smarten up. Your dog is judging you right now. And your best friend just called you crazy. We all need someone who'll pull no punches and give it to us straight. Now imagine getting your news like that. No bull, no spin. Just give it to me straight. Straightforward news. Straight to the heart of the story. ABC News. Straightforward.
What's the most innovative daily news podcast out there to listen to every day? Well, the Edward R. Murrow Awards say it's Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. Even the New York Times calls us a top news podcast worth listening to. So if you like getting behind the biggest news stories of the day, inside all the details, the backstory, and what will happen next, then listen to Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. It's like no other news podcast out there. Even the critics agree. Listen free on Apple Podcasts.
Welcome back. The pandemic's toll has certainly been relentless in recent weeks, and the pace of vaccinations has failed to keep up. The U.S. is now struggling to get doses into the arms of Americans, and that's led to some questions about how and when to administer those doses currently available. Our Bob Woodruff takes a closer look in this week's Vaccine Watch.
This week, Operation Warp Speed announced that about 21 million vaccine doses have been delivered throughout the United States so far, but there's been one speed bump in the rollout: actual injections into arms.
It's tremendously frustrating. In the last 4 or 5 days, I've been trying to get a spot, and you can't get a spot. It should be working for more and more people, and it should have been a lot quicker.
President-elect Joe Biden's transition team saying today that he plans on releasing a majority of vaccine doses to the public instead of holding back stock for the second dose, as is the current plan.
The rollout has been a travesty. This will be the greatest operational challenge we will ever face as a nation.
Injections in the U.S. are lagging behind supply, and possibly a more infectious but not more deadly variant of the virus is causing alarm. So much so, the U.K. has imposed another shutdown.
All we're seeing really day in and day out are more and more cases of this.
In an attempt to get the upper hand on the pandemic's latest surge, the UK is considering a highly controversial public experiment. Their plan? To inoculate as many people as possible with a single dose and delay giving the necessary second dose by up to 12 weeks.
This new immunization strategy, just using up all of these available doses that are out there to vaccinate more people with their first dose.
Bad idea.
Pfizer and Moderna's regulatory authorizations say that patients be injected within 3 or 4 weeks after their first dose based on clinical trials. Dr. Paul Offit is a member of the FDA Advisory Committee that recommended emergency authorizations for the 2 vaccines in the U.S.
What you're doing is you're disrupting a program. You're saying, look, when we have enough vaccine for the second dose, come on back, which may be 2 months later, or 3 months later, or 4 months later, at which point you may not be protected anymore.
Some frontline workers, like UK Dr. Laith Alexander, who have already received their first shot, are wary about postponing their second dose.
And the problem is, I consented to the vaccination as per the schedule that was tested in the trial, in the phase 3 trial. I didn't really consent to a schedule that ultimately doesn't have a randomized clinical trial behind it.
And while vaccination supply is limited in the U.S., the Biden transition team says that vaccine production will be able to keep up with demand without holding back the needed second dose.
There is no support among the public health officials or academics or researchers or the FDA in this country to delay that second dose.
Another option being discussed: administering just half the volume of the Moderna vaccine when giving each dose. That's based on early results in the 18 to 55-year-olds.
The head of the Operation Warp Speed, Mosif Slawi, has on Monday, he said that the health officials are considering giving a 1/2 dose of the Moderna vaccine for some people. Does that make any sense? Do you think that's acceptable?
That makes even less sense than giving one dose and waiting. I think it's a dangerous, dangerous idea. And certainly the Food and Drug Administration has squelched both the ideas.
Moderna, the FDA, and scientists at the National Institutes of Health are looking at the possibility of modifying the dosage. But any change would take months and require an updated FDA authorization. On Monday, the FDA issued a warning against any experimenting with dosing. We want to remind the public about the importance of receiving COVID-19 vaccines according to how they've been authorized in order to safely receive the level of protection observed in the trials. As of now, of the approximately 21 million doses that have been delivered throughout the U.S., nearly 6 million people have received their first injections. But officials promise to drastically ramp up injections, expecting to soon be able to vaccinate 1 million people per day. This is Bob Woodruff, tracking the vaccine.
Our thanks to Bob Woodruff. And for more now, we bring in infectious disease Dr. Celine Gounder, a member of President-elect Biden's COVID-19 Advisory Board. Thanks so much for joining us, Dr. Gounder. Let's start with Biden's new plan to release nearly all available vaccine doses instead of holding some back for second doses. Why is this the best option? And what happens if production simply can't keep up and second doses are then delayed?
Lindsay, I do want to make clear that the recommendation remains that people should still get their second dose at 21 days or 28 days after their first dose, depending on whether that was the Pfizer or the Moderna vaccine. That second dose should still arrive on time. But what we've realized is that the vaccine rollout has had some hiccups. It's been a little bit glitchy. And we, in a sense, are getting in our own way, making things more complicated than we think they need to be. And we do have confidence that any technical potential issues aside, that the vaccine supply is on target to be where it needs to be. And so by opening things up and not withholding that second dose, we're really just making it easier to get the vaccine distributed, but still plan to make sure this gets administered on schedule.
And you just, of course, restated how important it is for the 21st and 28 days. So how important are those timelines strictly as far as making sure that people get them? And what's the risk of deviating from those timelines?
The risk is that the vaccines simply have not been studied in that way. So it is a data-free zone, whether they will be as effective if the doses, the first and second doses, are spaced further apart. We don't think a week or two delay is going to make a huge difference. But at the same time, we really do want to recommend that people stick to the schedule. This is really more of a how are we managing the supply chain. We're not recommending that people wait to get the second dose.
And as you know, there's been a lot of finger pointing over the vaccine rollout. HHS Secretary Alex Azar accused governors of leaving vaccines sitting in freezers and said the perfect cannot be the enemy of the good. Do you agree with that? And how can the Biden administration help states and local authorities work faster to get the vaccines into more arms?
We're going to do as much as we can, as quickly as we can. We are a year behind. There's a lot of planning that should have started about a year ago. Everything from looking at staffing, where, here's a pandemic. We know we'll eventually have a vaccine on our hands. How will that vaccine get into people? Well, that clearly is going to require a lot of vaccinators. And the kinds of things, that needed to be done much sooner are not partisan issues in terms of the staffing issues. It's things like, really boring things like scope of work. Who as a healthcare worker can deliver a vaccination? Can a dentist or a veterinarian deliver a vaccination? But those are regulations that need to be changed at the state level. We also require people to be licensed at the state level. So me working in New York City, I cannot go over to Newark, New Jersey, less than an hour away with my New York medical license. So these are all just bureaucratic obstacles that really needed to be addressed sooner. And we will be addressing all of those kinds of bottlenecks as quickly as we can.
And lastly, are you concerned at all about wealthy or well-connected Americans trying to jump the vaccine line? And how can you ensure that the process is fair and equitable?
At the end of the day, anybody getting vaccinated is a win. This is an infectious disease. And so if you're trying to reach a certain level of immunity in the population, every person who gets vaccinated is good, not just for themselves, it's good for the rest of the people around them. And I do think many communities of color, part of their hesitance is that they don't want to be first in line. They don't want to be the guinea pigs. And so, hey, you know, if a white privileged person happens to get the vaccine earlier and serves as the test case for communities of color to feel more confident, that's not the worst situation ever.
Wow. Okay, well, just to recap, sounds like cutting the line does not appear to be a big concern. Dr. Gounder, thank you so much for your time. Once again, a Biden advisor on distribution of the vaccine. Still ahead here on Prime, the call House Speaker Pelosi made to the military over her concerns about Trump having the nuclear codes, and the study on how law enforcement treats left-wing versus right-wing protests. We take a look by the numbers. But first, our tweet of the day. Dionne Warwick channeling us all.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live, the 24/7 streaming news source from ABC News. Wow. Breaking news, live events as they happen, streaming live, nonstop, straight to you. Original, on the edge, breakthrough storytelling from ABC News, National Geographic, ESPN, all designed differently for you to stream straight to any screen whenever you want, free. And imagine the most celebrated, epic live events and moments, all playing out right before your eyes.
See those flames behind me?
And go deeper inside the groundbreaking exclusives from the campaign trail only ABC News gets. Watch ABC News Live right now and anytime. Streaming on Roku, Hulu, Facebook, and abcnews.com.
ABC News Live.
Streaming everywhere, right to you.
ABC News Live.
The Americans here on the ground and the Iraqis. 18,000 tons. Patatas.
Ismail? David.
Over ground zero from Hurricane Michael. You can see just home after home.
David, nice to meet you.
This was your view.
My favorite view.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, mornings may look different these days, but where you start your day,
where you spend your mornings, where you get connected to everything that's happening.
And face it, there's a whole lot happening in our world these days.
where you get all the breaking new information of the day to help you navigate through these times.
That's why we're here.
Good morning, sunshine.
And making sure you start your day off with a smile and some sunshine.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Oh, how I love saying that.
Wake me up.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
ABC News honored winner for the second straight year with the Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence in Television. ABC News, America's #1 news source.
This is GMA3, what you need to know. GMA3.
A third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon.
It's all about you. Lunchtime on ABC.
Welcome back, everyone. Of course, many have now pointed out a glaring disparity as we watch the storming of the U.S. Capitol. Law enforcement appeared to treat pro-Trump rioters with kid gloves, a stark contrast to the aggressive police response that we saw during some Black Lives Matter protests over the summer. We take a look at a new study now by the numbers. Authorities were more than 2 times as likely to try to break up left-wing protests than right-wing ones from May through November. When law enforcement intervened, 51% of the time they used force against left-wing groups, including Black Lives Matter, pro-Biden activists, and Antifa. In contrast, the study found that law enforcement used force only 34% of the time when it intervened against right-wing groups. Now, this past summer certainly saw a lot of unrest. More than 10,000 demonstrations nationwide were recorded by ACLED. 73% of these events were associated with Black Lives Matter, and of those protests, 93% were said to be peaceful. But during counter-protests to BLM, 12% turned violent. And we still have lots to get to tonight on Prime. The new monthly economic numbers, more Americans out of work last month. What can be done? And remembering a baseball legend, Tommy Lasorda. But first, a look at our top trending stories on abcnews.com.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown Hate, The War Among Us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. #1 in the morning, #1 in the evening, with America's most watched newscast. #1 in late night versus the competition. The #1 news magazine on Friday nights. #1 in politics across this historic election versus the competition. The #1 daytime talk show. And #1 in streaming news. ABC News is America's #1 news.
What's the most innovative daily news podcast out there to listen to every day? Well, the Edward R. Murrow Awards say it's Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. Even the New York Times calls us a top news podcast worth listening to. So if you like getting behind the biggest news stories of the day, inside all the details, the backstory, and what will happen next, then listen to Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. It's like no other news podcast out there. Even the critics agree. Listen free on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, mornings may look different these days, but where you start your day,
where you spend your mornings, where you get connected to everything that's happening.
And face it, there's a whole lot happening in our world these days.
Where you get all the breaking new information of the day to help you navigate through these times.
That's why we're here.
Good morning, sunshine.
And making sure you start your day off with a smile and some sunshine.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Oh, how I love saying that.
Wake me up.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline. Friday nights, 9/8 Central. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime. 2020. Friday nights, 9/8 Central on ABC.
House Democrats say they plan to introduce an article of impeachment on Monday. A draft of the resolution indicates a single article charging President Trump with willfully inciting violence against the government of the United States. Today, President-elect Joe Biden at an economic press briefing said impeachment is up to Congress, but said all involved should be held accountable.
I am focused now on us taking control as president and vice president on the 20th.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says that she has spoken to the country's top military leaders about options for keeping President Trump from, quote, accessing nuclear launch codes.
I am told that Chairman Milley assured her there was not going to be any sort of accidental launch. There are procedures in place. There are guardrails. I know we've all seen the movies, and there is the nuclear football that is always with the President of the United States, but there are procedures in place in the Pentagon.
In the first week of 2021, the U.S. reported more coronavirus cases than any other point in the pandemic, with more than 1.5 million over the last 7 days.
We believe things will get worse as we get into January.
Thursday marking the deadliest day on record, with more than 4,000 people dying from the virus, according to Johns Hopkins University. Meantime, vaccine rollouts are sputtering along. The CDC reports nearly 6 million doses have been administered, far fewer than the projected 20 million by the end of 2020.
The final unemployment report of the Trump era is out tonight, and it's a reminder of the dismal economic situation President-elect Biden is now inheriting. 140,000 jobs were lost in December, a sobering surprise to analysts. The unemployment rate remained unchanged at 6.7%. Meanwhile, stocks on Wall Street managing to make gains, pushing stocks to new all-time highs.
The 22-year-old woman who falsely accused a black teenager of stealing her phone and then attempted to tackle him has been arrested. Mia Ponsetto was taken into custody in California. Video from last month shows Ponsetto tackling 14-year-old Keon Harold at a New York hotel. After making the accusation, her phone was later found by an Uber driver.
I admit, yes, I could have approached the situation differently or maybe not yelled at him like that and made him feel, maybe some sort of inferior way, making him feel as if I was like hurting his feelings, because that's not my intention. I consider myself to be super sweet.
Ponsetto calling herself super sweet during a testy interview with CBS News.
All right, Gail, enough.
Ponsetto claims racism had nothing to do with her accusing Keon Harold Jr.
I am a 22-year-old girl. Racism how is one girl accusing a guy about a phone a crime?
But his family says that racism is at the heart of this.
I'm just happy that we've made some progress today.
Alex Trebek's final episodes on Jeopardy. After 36 years, Alex Trebek's final episode airing tonight, taped just 10 days before he lost his battle with pancreatic cancer. This week, Trebek sharing that message with millions watching.
Open up your hands and open up your heart to those who are still suffering because of COVID-19. People who are suffering through no fault of their own. We're trying to build a gentler, kinder society, and if we all pitch in just a little bit, we're going to get there. Okay.
So many fans remembering a great tonight. Tommy Lasorda, the Hall of Fame manager who led the Los Angeles Dodgers to 2 World Series championships, has died. It's been more than 7 decades with the Dodgers. He was 93.
Welcome back, everyone. Education Secretary Betsy Devos resigned her cabinet post this week in response to the Capitol riot, calling the president's actions an inflection point for her. Now, her tenure has been marked by controversy and criticism, including her response to keeping schools open during the pandemic. And as millions of students nationwide have now headed back to school after the holidays, new research suggests that the pandemic is having a big impact on learning. Many students not able to keep up pace, and parents wondering if there's a plan to help their children catch up. Our Devin Dwyer takes a look with our series, America in Transition.
For 12-year-old Chloe West, the first 5 months of middle school have been a joyless experience in the confines of her family apartment.
Did you understand what you were doing in math today? Yes.
Her mother, April, a social worker in Northern Virginia, says months of remote learning have taken a toll.
I don't think that it's the teachers or that they're not teaching. I think that it's the technical piece. And sometimes you have the students on and there's no teacher because their technology piece is no longer working.
Nearly a year after the pandemic began, technical glitches have become more than a nuisance.
We'll try and at least discuss.
Guys, what happened? She left the meeting. It kicked her out the internet.
Disrupting learning, making science experiments in math class especially hard, playing French horn in the band even harder.
Can you see all of your classmates have their instruments out and there's somebody you're playing skit? What is it? What are you doing?
We can't see each other, but when he turned the microphone on, he has us play together. It doesn't sound that good because some people's microphone doesn't work.
So what's your biggest concern right now?
My biggest concern is that it's going to get worse instead of better. Only because I know that there's a lot of things that she's missed.
Experts call it learning loss and say early data show millions of students are falling victim to it.
And we found that the learning loss experience was quite pervasive, that almost all students were negatively impacted by the pandemic and the pivot to remote learning.
66% of teachers in one national survey said their students are less prepared for grade-level work compared to last year. In high-poverty schools, 1 in 3 teachers say their students are significantly behind.
If these kids are losing this much learning in just a brief period of time, you have to plan that the recovery time here is going to be years.
Teachers have been working overtime from home.
We're going to read a story today.
Developing creative teaching techniques and new lesson plans for the digital space.
That took some training, that took some trial and error. It was quite a challenge, but I have a never say die mentality.
But a lack of support and resources, many districts say, is causing burnout among teachers and students.
Nothing can replace in-person learning. Our educators, our parents, our students want nothing more than to be back together, not only to learn together for their academics, but also for their social emotional learning as well.
President Trump and Education Secretary Betsy Devos have been pushing schools to reopen for in-person classes since last fall.
The science says it is safe for kids to be in school. The reality is that parents and their kids are being held hostage.
But with the virus surging, many parents and teachers are worried about safety. From Illinois to Arizona, protests against a return to the classroom. Families, in the meantime, making costly sacrifices to fill the gap.
I supplement with a tutor that she sees every Tuesday and Thursday, also virtual, but again, it is one-on-one.
And how much is that costing you a month?
$400.
In D.C., the Martin family facing expensive internet service upgrades to support 3 student streamers. Alex home from college after a campus COVID outbreak. Lily finishing her high school senior year. And 9th grader Ben, who's fighting to get his grades up after a pandemic slide.
I feel like the online was only targeted towards one type of student that can sit there and just listen to someone talk for hours at a time. But for me, I'm not that type of student.
Are you ready to read massive amounts of books and all the other college assignments?
I'm worried that when I'm back into a classroom, I'm just going to be overwhelmed because I haven't been in one in so long.
The long-term impact could be staggering. The average American student has already lost an estimated half a year of learning in reading and over a full year of learning in math since the pandemic began. Education advocates say intensive tutoring programs and weeks of summer school may be needed to catch them up.
So it's not only talking about summer school. We've got to approach this from a holistic way. Which students need the most additional supports, the one-on-one, the tutoring that's going to be required.
President-elect Joe Biden is promising to reopen the majority of schools in his first 100 days, naming Connecticut Schools Chief Miguel Cardona to lead the effort at the Department of Education.
For so many of our schools and far too many of our students, this unprecedented year has piled on crisis after crisis. It's taken some of our most painful, long-standing disparities and wrenched them open even wider.
Biden wants a new COVID testing system at schools nationwide and more funding for better school ventilation, PPE for teachers, and hiring more staff to reduce crowded classrooms. He's also expected to extend relief for student loan payments and push for some college student debt to be forgiven.
My debt is $80,000. This relief for me personally would help me to take care of my parents. They're getting older. My dad has come across a lot of health complications. He had COVID just last month. He's still in the hospital right now.
The price tag for Biden's plan is in the billions of dollars, setting the stage for another fight in Congress over who should foot the bill.
For me, it's more frustrating looking at other countries and seeing where they are compared to us. And they seem to be a little bit more back to normal than we are.
7th grader Chloe West says she's frustrated too. Her mom cautiously optimistic that a new vaccine and new president could turn the pandemic school year around.
I know she wants to go back to school, but I, as a parent, am afraid for, her health. So if by, I would say, the start of the 4th quarter, if they are able to at least get to school by then I'm all for it. But until things, get better, I'm not for it.
For ABC News Live, I'm Devin Dwyer in Washington.
A concern for so many parents. Devin, our thanks to you. Coming up next, honoring the officer who died while trying to defend our nation's capital. We'll be back in just a moment.
Most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Lunchtime at 1 Eastern, 12 Central and Pacific on ABC. It's all about you.
Friday nights, 9/8 Central. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime. 2020. Friday nights, 9/8 Central on ABC.
What you're seeing right now, this is part of the eye wall.
This procession of migrants goes back 2 miles.
There is going to be catastrophic damage.
This fire has made a run. You can see those flames shooting up into the sky.
We are on the jam-packed red carpet.
To the right, guys.
So this is the 4th weekend of protest.
Watch ABC News on location for Facebook Watch.
Breaking news, context, analysis.
With today's extraordinary news cycle,
now is the perfect time for ABC News Live.
A streaming news game changer. The time is now for ABC News Live. Get it, streaming everywhere.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source.
Before we say goodnight at the end of a long week, just the first week of the year, our image of the day, the flag at half-staff in honor of the officer who lost his life trying to defend our nation's capital. This is certainly a week we will not soon forget. That is our show for this hour. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We leave you now with a live look at the Capitol Dome.